What I'm going to do is a two-piece hollow form, and there's many types of them. And first of all, this is a club-owned video that you can check out. It is exactly what I'm doing today. It's Brian McElvoy who did this. Is that your dog? Yeah. Give him a treat, Sandy. Give Don a treat. There is a dog back there. So anyway, it's an excellent video. It's a little bit over an hour long, and if you go in the extra features, it shows some of the other stuff he has done. He's an excellent wood turner. This is from the American Wood Turner, the AAW magazine, from fall of 2006, and this is where I learned how to do it. Was the article in that catalog, in that magazine. This is, I sent this to Gerald. I had a permission from the AAW to use it, and so he's going to post it on our website so you can go in and download it. So this is the procedure I use. I do things a little bit different than him, as we all do, depending on what you have and stuff, but the concept is the same, and I actually brought this because once in a while I got to refer back to it because you have to do it in the right order. So
it's in the documents section on the website. There's like 51 handouts in there if you're interested in some other projects.
if you didn't hear him, he said it's in the documents library on the website. So originally I was going to do this demo out of a piece of pecan, but it was pecancrete because you want to use dried wood, and this is one I did at home. It dulled the tools after about 30 seconds, and I kept having to resharpen and redo it, and so much dust. And I did not want that in here because I'm going to not really do any sanding. I am using dry wood. I'm using dry cherry. So there will be some dust, but not as much as the concrete. So this is one of the ones I did practicing this week. No. This is another one. This is magnolia. It's a little bit lighter, and it turned nice. If I screw up the cherry, I've got a backup from magnolia. So like last time when my cherry broke on me, I had another piece, so I brought a backup. So these are two I did this week. How many of you guys can turn a bowl? Everybody's turned bowls, right? If you can turn a bowl, you can do one of these. It really is that simple. What? Oh, yeah, Rory hadn't turned the bowl. Okay. Sorry. Yet. We're working on it. I like that form. I tried to go big on one a while back, and it did not turn out nice. I don't like this shape. I did some burning on it, so I did do some embellishment, and I think that came out, but I did not like this shape. You'll see the seam. If you look on those, you can see the seam. It is there. This one I kind of did a little stippling on there to kind of hide the seam. So you can burn the seam. You can do a lot of different things. This is actually the first one I did, and that's when I tried to go bigger. And so this one I did in 2020. And this one doesn't have anything there, but if you know what to look for, you will see the seam. So I'll pass that one around.
Is that from a piece of wood that was here and you resawed it? Is that why?
Yeah, I'm going to go over all that. So this is an 8-inch, about 8 inches round. And what you want to do is you want to start out with a square blank. I did not bring a square one, but it's square and 3 inches because you actually cut it into two pieces before you turn. You turn them separate. So you want it square so you can run it through your bandsaw. Do not try to run a round blank through your bandsaw. Please, don't. It won't work. Yeah, it might grab your hand right into that blade too, or break the blade, or it's something you do not want to try. So start out with a square blank. You're only wasting a little bit on the corners, not much. And cut it square and then cut it in half. And then what you want to do is look and decide what you want to be the top and what you want to be the bottom. If you want something you're going to embellish, you probably want kind of a plain. You don't want a lot of figure on it. If you want to just show the figure, then use that on the top. These were marked as the inside. And then I went ahead and marked that's going to be my top. And this is going to be the bottom. And I chose this. I don't know if you can see it or not. Probably was better without the light. It's got a little bit of a flame in here, right there. So I think that'll probably look nice on the top. Okay? So, actually, I thought I had drilled these. I screwed up and did not do that, so I'll have to do that now. The way Brian does it in his video and in the book, he uses face plates and not a worm screw. I don't have a problem using the screw. It works great, so that's what I'm going to do. This, for mine, this is 11/32 drill bit, and I put the tape on there so I don't go too deep. This is the inside of the finished piece. So you're going to start out drilling on the inside. And you don't want to drill them too deep, otherwise you'll have a hole in the bottom. The top, it's okay. You're going to have a hole in it anyway when you're done. And I use, like I said, a worm screw, so it doesn't go in quite so far. I just put a little spacer on there. Well, this doesn't stay locked, does it? That'll probably help. There we go. Not so wobbly now. If anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'll make up something. All right. So, just refresh. This is the inside. This is the top, going to be the top of the Hollowform. This will be the very top. This is the inside of the top.
On splitting your board, do you have a jig to hold it?
To cut my board in half? No, I use the fence. He asked if I had a jig to cut these in half. I just use a fence.
Have any problem with it leaning one way or the other?
Not on my bandsaw. I've got about a 4 or 5 inch tall fence that it rests on. You can also do this if you don't have any 3-inch thick or however thick you want it. You can use flat boards, you know, like rough sawn lumber, 1.5 thick or whatever. Yeah, but right, it may not, but if you're in texture, it doesn't matter. Or you can do contrasting woods. I was going to do that. Thought about doing that here, but I had walnut and something else, and I didn't know if anybody was allergic to the walnut, so I decided not to. But if you look at that handout, and I can go ahead and pass this around, you can look through it. In there, he's got a picture of one that he did that's 2 colors. It's really nice. So that's really is another option. So the first thing I'm going to do, if Herman didn't steal my tools, he put them back, okay. He was trying to pocket one of my gouges earlier. You wouldn't do that, no. You don't want mine. You like the Carter. I don't have any Carter.
You got them so messed up.
That's probably true. We'll see if I got them sharp or not this time. I'm going to bring the live center up just as extra support. I did not, as you can probably see, I didn't get it real round. Is that better for now anyway? Okay.
Was that from AAW?
Yes, and it's got the date on the bottom, fall of 2006 issue. You can, if you're an AAW member, you don't have it back that far, you can get that online. You just go on their website and search for Brian McElvoy and it'll pull that up. That's how I got that printed. Was I couldn't remember, so I just did a search on the website. So those of you that don't belong to the AAW, there's a lot of good information. A lot of their magazine alone is really worth the price, which is I think $68 a year now for the membership, which is not bad.
In addition to that, there is an AAW forum that you don't have to be a member of AAW, but if you're an AAW member, you get a lot more picture space on there. If you like to put pictures up. Because a lot of, and most of the pros are on the AAW forum, so if you have a question for a pro, that's a good place to ask it.
Okay, now we get some echo. I'm just going to round this. And really the only edge I need to round is the mating surface. So I really don't even have to round the whole thing. See if that got it. Okay, and I'm going to take and just face off part of this so that when I start shaping the outside, I know where my edge is. Because if this isn't square now, I'm going to lose some of it if I go ahead and shape it and then square it up back here, I'll lose some of it, and I don't want to do that, so I want a point to aim to. So I'm just going to do a little bit. Just make sure I got all the saw marks out of it. A little bit more. Okay, so I've got the squared up edge now. Now I can start shaping the outside. Another reason I chose this as the top is there's a knot right here which will turn out, and on the bottom the bark here, the bark inclusion is going to turn away as I do it. See if I can get that off so I don't throw it at anybody. Yeah, most of it. Gary, you might be in the firing line if this comes off.
Just don't do it.
See how fast his reflexes are? All right, so now I'm just going to take and start rounding this into the shape I want. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave the tail stock up for now. Get this handle out of the way. All right. Well, that one looks pretty good. I'm just going to face this off here and then mark my tenon. I'm going to do a mortise on this for the, it'll be a recess. So I've already got my caliper set to where I need to be. Let me double check that. Because I was doing some other stuff in the shop. I want to make sure I didn't end up changing my setting here. So you notice I'm only touching the leg that's closest to me. Oh, can't quite see it. Gotta turn this back on for a minute. There we go. Is that, yeah, that's too washed out. So now I know where I'm going to go for my recess, but I also want to mark to leave a little shoulder there for the very top that I can clean up later and smooth up, but I want that probably about that thick. I'm going to go ahead and my scribe line, I'm just going to take and deepen that a little bit with this parting tool, just to give me a good idea and I don't turn away my line accidentally. I'm just kind of rounding this a little bit. Trying to come out to my edge.
The edge closest to the, yeah, that's
If I did what?
flatten the edge.
Yes, I straightened this edge. Yeah, asking if I straightened this edge. Yes, I did, so that I have a target for this edge here. And I'm getting quite a bit of tear out here, but I'm going to come back and clean that up when I get closer. I'm also going to step this down just a little bit, kind of make a little collar here. I'm just kind of trying to get a continuous curve here. Go ahead and take the tailstock away. And I'm going to attempt to do a push cut going downhill here and see if I can get this smoother because there's a lot of tear out right there. See if I can do this. Usually make it worse. Hey, not bad. Better than I did at home. I'm going to take one more cut just to get this a little bit thinner on the outer edge here. And I'll probably mess this one up now that I said I did all right. Little ripples in there, but we can get that out. I'm going to actually scrape that now just to smooth it up. You probably can't see it, but I can see some ripples in there. So I've got a negative rake scraper. Still got a little bit that should sand out though. 60 grit will take care of that in no time. Boy, you guys awake?
No, we were all agreeing.
Now I'm going to do my recess in here, so this can be reverse chucked here in a little bit. You can go fairly deep in here because this is going to be hollowed out, so you don't have to worry about it. What you do have to do is make sure you put a shoulder in here for your chuck to rest against, because you don't want this surface being your all the way down on the bottom of the jaws here. You want it resting on this surface here. So you have to make sure you don't forget, like I did on one of those I passed around, and go too deep with it without a shoulder. This is an old Craftsman's parting tool, which actually still works pretty good. As you can see, I believe that was my father's, because he used to turn, so I got a couple of his tools that I still use. So now I'm just going to turn the center out. Just a hair high here. Still a little bit high. Make sure I have a shoulder in there. I do. I'm going to make it a little bit deeper. It's a little shallow. And a little bit of a dovetail here for my jaws, depending on your chuck. This is another old Craftsman that belonged to my dad. Okay, so now I have a shoulder in there. When I reverse chuck this, I can mount it there. And do not need to worry about sanding this at this time. I was afraid that was going to happen. Oh, wait, let's see. Yep, the chuck came loose. Well, if I can get somebody to hold that for me. There we go.
Cool.
Yep, I got it. Thanks. I could probably use a fraction larger drill bit for these, but I like it nice and snug, especially if you've got soft wood. You want the better grip. So that's all we're going to do with that for now. Like I said, you don't have to sand or anything on that right now. So now we're going to mount the bottom. I guess I'll keep some of the sawdust out of my box, some of the shavings.
This gets everywhere anyway.
Yeah. I get bumped. All right. We want to make this at least close to the same diameter as this one after I rounded it. So just to get an idea here. Okay, so now I have a target for when I round this. Hopefully it's not too much smaller than that. But you can adjust that later too, so it's not a big deal. That's right.
What was that?
He said clothes only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
And nuclear weapons.
That's true. All right, Gary, we'll see if this is going to fly off at you or not. So I'm going to do just like on the other one. I'm just going to start rounding, and really it's just the matching surface I'm worried about. That speed's sensitive. Not quite.
Hey, Phil, let's ask a question. Is there an advantage of using that word over a faceplate?
No, in fact, the gentleman who wrote the article uses 2 face plates. He puts a face plate on each one, and that's what he uses, and that's fine. I have 1 face plate, but to me the worm screw works fine too. It gives me a nice solid. So it's really just a matter of preference, whichever way you want to do it. You don't have to use even 2 face plates. You can use 1. You just have to change it in between. I don't really know why he used 2. If you watch his video, that's how he did it. So I've still got 1 little flat spot right here. Okay. So that's flat. Now I'm going to flatten this back surface. You want to try to take off as little wood as possible here. And when you cut it, you know, your bandsaw blade's fairly thin. But the less you can take off to square it up in the back and everything, the closer your grain's going to match when you glue it back together. Feels good. Let's see if it looks good or not. A little bit right there. So I need to go just a little bit more. 1 little spot there.
Because you're trying to match the grain, you're interested in taking as little off there.
Right. Yeah, John said because you're trying to match the grain, you want as little off as possible, and that's correct. So this ended up a little bit smaller. A little bit more than I would have liked, but probably 1/8 of an inch smaller. But like I said, we can adjust that by reducing this one slightly when we get ready to glue it together. So I'm going to should have done this already and forgot, bring the tailstock back up to start rounding this. Yes.
Just a question to help me understand here. Is there a reason that you wouldn't want to just put it between centers?
You could, but you still have to cut the mortise, your tenon, and it's harder to do between centers.
Do you have to have a mortise? Just asking. I think Rory wanted to know that, really.
The mortise, you're going to end up,
To be more obvious.
I guess you could clamp it here and the same on the bottom, but you have more to clean up later.
What if
Because
you want to put it on, could you put it on 3 little legs, like this thin ball over here,
you could,
and then just leave the tenon?
yeah. I mean, you can do, this is just one design. No,
I'm trying to understand if there was a reason you wouldn't want to.
I see a challenge for next month.
yeah. You could do that, Brian. You just have to reverse it and turn that off. You also have to leave the thickness to make your legs. I mean, if you want to get that complicated, that's fine. You can make it little legs and make it look like a flying saucer. Paint it silver.
All right, where's Bill? Bill, that's your challenge.
Yeah.
Make it a water tower, Bill.
No, you could do that, Brian. I'm trying to work it through in my head if there's a reason not to do a tenon. You don't, it would be very, I won't say it would be difficult, it would be more to it.
The tenon makes it easier to.
The mortise makes it, is fine. I mean, it looks good. It depends on what you want, the aesthetics of what you want. Is really what it boils down to. It's all up to you. You know, however you want it to look. So, there's a lot, that's what's nice about this. There's lots of possibilities for design opportunities. Like I said, this is just kind of a flat one. The one big one I did, which I think, like I said, I don't like the shape at all.
Would you like it more if you didn't cut them, the 2 boards in half, but maybe use them? Okay. Would you like it better with, would you like it better if you, didn't cut it in half, but maybe the golden?
Yeah, golden mean. You could do that too. Again, it's a lot of design possibilities. You don't have to cut it in half. That's what I've done. If you're going to do a hollow form, you know, a vase style, I'll show you one later. Actually, a couple of them. It's all in what you want it to look like, what you want to do. Because you can do a vase with the same basic techniques. And you're hollowing it, but you're hollowing it like a bowl, just maybe deeper, depending on how you do it.
Lots of opportunity.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to bring this down to the edge like I did the other. And so that's why you always spin it before you start it. And then mark my recess on the bottom for my mortise. All right, Gary, now we'll really find out on the bark. I guess it's not going to throw any at you. I tried. That's all right. Thanks, Gerald. Just like the other one, I'm going to mark for my recess. Mark an outer ring for the thickness of my foot. Yep. All right. Try my push cut again here. See if I can do it again. Take the elbow poker out of the tailstock there. Get a little dust up here. Yes, sir. You just checking it out?
I just want to see how thin that is.
All right. Not too bad. Always one more cut, right? That would sand down pretty good, especially after I scrape it. You know what? It helps better. It works better if you turn it the right side up. Much better.
The edges are asymmetrical and the negative reg scraper.
He asked my edges were asymmetrical and my negative rate scraper. What's asymmetrical?
Well,
There-
you ground
there's-
more off of one side.
Yes.
than the other.
Yeah. But it worked the other way, just not as well. So, again, there's no need to sand right now. You can, but I'm not going to. So what I'm going to do now is finish turning the recess on the bottom to be able to turn it over and mount it later. When you do a recess like this, I've got this lip here. You want to make sure that your recess goes beyond this lip right here. And the reason being is you want it in that solid wood. If I try to expand my jaws just in that little ring right there, it's a real good chance this is going to chip it out and break. So if you go in a little bit deeper to get your jaws in, then you...
You know that it's thin and you won't tighten the jaws by the
True, but you get one little catch and then it's gone too. So I try to go into the solid wood instead of just that little edge there. You don't have to go very deep in there. In fact, you don't want to go real deep on this. And you'll see that why later. So now, try to just get this smoothed up a little bit. Normally, you would sand that right now, but I did not even bring any sandpaper, so I'm not going to. I'm going to have to turn the light on a second to see this. It's got a little bit of a nub right in the center, and I'm a little low. So I just want to clean this up. I will sand this when I get home, but it is easier if you could do it now.
What you call that tool that you just used?
This is a round nose negative rake scraper. One thing you notice also, you know, when you're turning a bowl, you normally take the edge off this right here, off where your lip. You kind of round it, just dull a little bit. You don't want to do that on this. So you have to watch it. I just actually bumped it a little bit. But that's like a little razor blade spinning there. But you want a nice crisp edge so when you match them up. So just be aware of that when you're turning, especially if you're coming around. You get that. It is. I mean, it will cut you in a heartbeat. I've got one little cut on my little finger where I did it earlier. That's not what I wanted. I'm going to take my skew and just give a little bit of a negative, a little bit of a dovetail there. Nice clean bottom. And then take the foot and just make it a little bit sloped in so it sits on that edge, just like you would on a regular bowl foot. Actually, I'm going to round that over just for a little aesthetics here, because I won't be able to do it afterwards. So just, and since I'm using the mortise, it's going to be chuck it on the inside, not on the outside. It just looks a little bit better, a little bit of a round over there. So, any questions? So this is the bottom of it. Let's see if this one will come off. Hey, that one did. This one did. So that's all we're doing for that right now. I'm going to change chucks.
Can you pass one of those halves around?
I can. Just 1 second. That's the bottom half. So I'm going to remount the top half now and do the inside, which is all I'm doing is making it a bowl. And that's what's nice about this is the two pieces. If you got, I know every one of you guys stuck your finger in those I passed around to feel how smooth they were inside. Right? Yeah, I mean, everybody did. Whether you admit it or not, I know you did. That's what's nice about this, that really nice finish on the inside. Oh no. I got it too small. Oh. Try to get it on there square. Looks like it's turning pretty true. Can I see that back just for a minute, Sandra? Sandra? See it just a second? I'll give it right back. I just needed to reset my calipers because I'm going to have to take a little bit off that edge to get these matched up. Thank you.
Bill, how close does the
Well.
diameter have to be? Does it have to be perfect, or can you sand some of it off once you do it?
You can sand some of it off. Actually, now that I resize this, it looks like this is right. It's just touching. I mean, it is just slightly smaller, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. So that's plenty close. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the closer it is, the better your grain's going to match, and the less adjusting you have to do. So I'm just going to turn this on and see how true it's running back here. Little bit of a wobble. So I'm just going to see. Nah, I'm not going to do that. I was going to try to true it up, but you'll never notice it. So now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take out some of the center so that I can get my edge here. So that's where it's going to be glued, and that has to be perfectly flat. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll hollow it and not touch that edge again. You need to get rid of this so that when I check the edge, I can get it across without it hitting on there. And this is where I'm talking about, you really got to watch your wrist right here. So now, you need that light off. I don't know if it's better or not. I'm going to come in and just try to just touch this edge. All right. I need the light again. I don't know, it's about 1200 RPM. What I'm comfortable at. Whatever you're comfortable at. Just trying to make sure that I've got that whole edge. There's one little spot there where it's dipping a little bit because it has warped a little bit. This is why you want dry wood. And I'm just going to use my skew. This is a bigger one as a scraper to flatten this. And I'm really, the edge right now is really sharp. Yeah, it's a little bit more out of round than I thought, but I still think it will be okay. It, go ahead.
Ask Linda, if you're mounting the piece, if it helps to move the live center and set up center.
Yes, it does. I do that a lot. He asked, I should have brought the live center up to center it. It would have helped. I forgot. I do that normally. But what I want to check now is that, and I don't know what you guys can see or not, is that this ruler sits perfectly flat on this edge. And I don't know what you can see or not. It is a little bit off. It is, the center is a little bit higher. I've got a little bit of a gap on the outside because that's flat there, you can see. So if you have don't have it perfectly flat, it's better to have it tapered in slightly. It's best to have it perfectly flat. But if it tapers out like this is when you put the other piece in, you're going to have a gap at your edge. So you want to get it as flat as you can. And I'm actually going to come in, make just a little bit smaller area for me. So I don't have quite as much to remove. And this is really critical, so you want to take your time and get this as flat as you can. Yeah, I actually made it worse. Went in, actually I go the other way now. There we go. And that is right under a 1/4 inch.
On this side underneath, you can see the light projecting through it. If you look under it,
Yeah,
under the ruler,
on this side?
yeah,
I can't see that side. Where is it projected? Is it flat or not?
showing no shadow on the outside edge.
Okay.
There is a shadow on the outside edge, but not on the inside.
Yeah.
Ah,
You did get down there.
yeah. Oh.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I want it a little bit wider though. Here we go, one more cut. one more cut.
So, I'm waiting when you're at one last cut.
All right.
I wanted to glue here where you shoot for.
About a 1/4 inch. It was just shy of a 1/4 inch. It is
I think that light
right
shooting
there.
through is that little, lower part behind
It,
the inside of
it may be. It looks from here on this side, it looks pretty flat. Looks like it did it. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go anymore. You can see how this edge is fuzzing here. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Right here, that's how sharp that is. Yeah, and a little bit smaller. But your glue joint, like I said, you want about a 1/4 inch. And that gives you some to round that off too. Once the glue is dry and you do the outside, that's how much room you have to play with basically. But you don't want to get that glue joint down to 1/16 of an inch either. You don't want to take it way down in there. If you're going to really round it around, then you would need a larger flat area to make this more of a rounded area so that you have more room to round the pieces or round them before you do it. You know, if that's what design you're going for. So plan ahead and you can do that. So now I'm going to hollow this. Thank you. And this is just hollowing a bowl is all I'm doing. So whichever, well, come on. There we go. Now if you want to do it real thin and pierce it, then you want to start on the outside. I am not going to do this one real thin. I'm going to go probably 1/4 inch, 5/16. Still got to bring in a little bit more. I'm going to scrape that just a little bit on the outer edge. Out here I've got some grooves. Not that you're going to see them.
But people don't stick their finger.
Well, if you can get your finger all the way over in that corner, you're doing pretty good. So this is more just for myself here.
Bill, would you ordinarily sand the inside of it?
Yes, once you get this hollowed, before you take it off, you would go ahead and sand it smooth, and you would, I guess you guys heard me ask if I would sand it. Yes, once you get it hollowed, you're going to finish this completely on the inside. And even if you're going to put a finish on it, whether it's a wipe on or whatever you're going to use, spray, you do that now. But you don't want to get glue on that last 1/4 inch. You want to keep that wood so the glue will.
You don't want to get finished.
Right, you don't want to get any finish on it. And you don't want to sand it. Do not sand that edge, your mating surface here, because you will round it or something. So you don't want to do that. So just leave it. Once you scrape it like that, then you're good to go. That's smooth enough. So I got to come back out about there. You can see that ring. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. Let's see how good I did here. Probably 1/4 inch. Look at that, hardly moves. Pretty good. I'm going to leave it. But I am going to, through the, I guess it's like, what, TV magic here? I'm going to sharpen my tool. Whoops. There, it's sharp. Yeah. It's getting a little dull. This dry wood is dulling it. I'm going to scrape this here before I go any further, try to get that out, and then I'll take that out of the center. This being a 1/4 inch or so thick, it's pretty stable, but it is, wood moves no matter what. So now I'm going to turn the center out, and I'm going to do what most of us never want to do. Turn through the bottom. This is the top. That is why I was saying when you do the bottom, don't go too deep. You know, it's one of those that's voice of experience. This was one that's now just a practice piece, was going to be a two-piece Hollowform, and there was my bottom. So, what's that? Yeah. Well, it also cracked here, so I just used it to play with, to practice on. So that's what that is there, just playing around with some different things. So it became something, but if you go too deep on the bottom, that one, nope, that one, that's what happens. So be aware, just like on a regular bowl, when you have a recess, that's exactly what that is. So, yeah. Now this one, what I want to do though is don't want to go too deep and hit my jaws. So I'm on that step in there, so I've got that to play with. So I'm just going to take this down to where it's, gets rid of this, and then I'll worry about the rest of that later. But right now, I'm just going to get this down. Well, see? And that hit my face shield, guys. I don't know if you heard that. It actually hit the face shield. Wear your face shield. Protect your face, protect your eyes. That piece hit the face shield too, so see? All right. So I'm just trying to round this. Enough to get the scraper in there. Get the right side up again. No, it's 40 on the bottom and 20 on the top. A little bit rough spot right there, which somebody could probably reach in and touch. But sanding would take it out. But I am not going to sand. So. So you can see that that's in there. I can show you how we take care of that later. I'll pass this around. Just watch that edge. Don't cut yourself. So now I'm going to do the bottom. Same way. Hopefully I got this tenon big enough. With mortise rather. Yeah, this one's a little bit bigger. I'm surprised there isn't. So normally I would have sanded that before I took it off. And like I said, completely finish it. But I don't want to fill the room with dust. So. So that's good enough for right now. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other one. And that, in fact, I'm going to bring the tailstock up and make sure I'm centered. Since I forgot last time. I'm going to take out a little bit and then I can mess with the edge, get it nice and flat. There we go. are here. Pretty flat, not too much of a wobble. So I'm going to take some out of the center here and then straighten my edge up like I did on the other one. See if I'm anywhere close. No, edge, outside edge I can feel is higher than the inside, so I'm going to have a gap. Yeah, so I need to now take my scraper and flatten that. My skew scraper. There are other uses for scrapers, by the way. I mean for skews, I'll get it right, than scraping, but they do work great. Yeah, John said for some that's only use. Well, they do work good for this, but there are other uses. You can see all the dust just from this. Yes.
Another option to do that scraper, take pencil, graphite that,
Edge.
and take an 18-inch straight edge with sandpaper on one end, hold it up against the wall, so when all of the graphite film is through.
Good idea. Yeah.
And it will not stack up many rings. You have to move a lot of stuff you can't afford in the area at all.
Yeah. That looks pretty good there. So I think that got it. Can I see that back for just a minute, Bill? I'll bring it back to you. Frisbee? Thank you. I just want to hold it up and see how it looks on this edge. I'm not worried too much about the grain right now, but you can see it looks like a pretty tight fit all the way around. So I think we're going to do okay. Thank you. So now that we got that, I'm just going to come in and hollow this again. Try to get about the same thickness as the other one. Wish me luck. That may be a little bit thinner than the other side. Oh well. Again, I'm watching my wrist on that edge. Yeah, it's probably about the same. It's a little bit thicker though. So from about right there. A little bit of chatter there.
Yeah, if you'll go down this way with the caliper, you can see the gap.
Well, maybe I don't want you to. A little bit difference, not much. All right. You guys notice on the outside I used a square nose scraper. On the inside I used the round side, rounded nose. If you try to use the round nose on the outside, you'll get ridges because you can't hold it. So the flat surface just follows that curve easier. On the inside, you get a real chance of getting the corner of that square nose scraper in there. So you use the round. And this is where I don't want to go too deep now. I don't want this to do like the top did.
Not so much a chance, it's 100% probability.
Thanks, John. No, he said there's only 100% probability of me doing that.
You've got a flat line, you've got to fit in a concave surface, it'll never,
Oh, you mean on the scraper?
yeah.
I thought you were talking about me going through it.
I would never say that.
Yeah, I know what you were thinking though, John.
Figure out what John said. I never can't figure out what you're thinking.
Neither can his wife.
Neither can I.
All right. I think I'm going to stop there and scrape it. Scrapers are a great invention. You notice I kind of got it locked into my body here, trying to get it as smooth as possible.
Trying to avoid the edge.
Well, there is no edge on this one.
I'm talking about the edge.
Oh, here, yeah, avoid the edge with my wrist. All right. A little bit of a ridge, you can see it right there.
I can see something in the center.
Little dot right there? Yeah. That's what I said, your 60 grit that you use all the time, John, that's what that's for.
I'm just trying to bait you into cut it a little bit.
No, I know John well enough.
I wouldn't do that.
So, you would sand this now, is what you would do, okay? And then put your finish on. Sanding would take care of that, so it would be good. So normally you would not remove this. but I'm gonna do the TV magic again. And voila, it's ready to glue with a finish on the inside. So I'm gonna glue this. What time is it anyway? Oh man, I'm doing good. So I'm gonna glue this and then we can take a break. You guys can go look at the tools while the glue sets up. But I'm gonna do this first. So, watch the glue dry. Anybody want to see the bottom? You want the top? I'm afraid you were gonna say that. So my plan is to take that home and glue them, sand them and then glue them together at home. So when you glue this, I just use, this is just Tight Bond glue, Tight Bond 3. I have not. But how fast does it dry? Oh, okay. Well, this actually, I think if I'm going to do this now, I'll take probably about 15-minute break, and it'll be set up enough that I can come back and finish this. So, what you got to do is, if you have a cone center that'll mount on your chuck, that's fine. I didn't have one big enough, so I just made one. So this is what's going to hold this together while the glue sets, as I knock it on the floor. Oh, the floor's getting lower and lower every day. Yeah. So, first thing I want to do is find my grain match. So you can't really mark it ahead of time because you're going to sand it off or turn it off. Now I went ahead and did this yesterday, so right there should be match, and you can see this one. Oh, can you zoom in on the from the tailstock? Yeah, this one is definitely did not get these matched. You can see the lip around here. So that will sand off. That's why I've got that 1/4 inch in there. But the grain, I had it. Where'd I go? There's my marks. Matches up. Should match up pretty good right there. So you want to, pardon me? This is cherry also. It is pretty wood. So I'm just doing a dry fit here. So I can just bring that up, put a little bit of pressure on there, and I can spin it around, and you still can't, I can't see it. I don't know if you guys can or not. The grain match, but we'll pass this around when it's done. It looks like it's pretty close all the way around, so that's good. So now, since I've got, if I had not already done it, I would put the pencil marks on now to mark where this is. Now this one is actually pretty thin. It's a lot thinner than the other because I may pierce this. I haven't decided yet. This glue is a little old. It's pretty thick. And like I said, I have sanded this and put a coat of finish on the inside. And this demo is as exciting as watching glue dry, is that right? Anybody have any questions? No? John? No? I'm going to do a little bit on the other side also. Come on. don't need an awful lot, but I do want to make sure it's got a good coating on there. I don't know if you can see it or not, there's actually a little flat spot there. But since that side is a little bit larger than the other side, oh, thank you. It will, Rory, would you bring me some that are wet? A wet one, please? But since this is a little bit bigger than that, I'll get rid of that little flat spot there. I'm not too concerned about getting glue on the inside because nobody's going to see that in this design. It's okay. All right, there's my mark. There's my mark. Thank you. Yeah, that should be. Yeah, got a little bit off there. There we go. All right. Got good squeeze out all the way around. I'm just going to lock that in, and so this is slightly damp. I will actually get could I get a pretty wet one, please, Gary? Thanks. Try to wipe this off so that the finish, it won't affect the finish. Quite a bit wetter. This just, if I assume most of you probably worked with wood glue, but if you get over like that, you take a wet, thank you, paper towel or rag and wipe it off while it's still setting up on the outside. It should not affect your finish because you can't really sand it off.
You have to be careful when you wipe like this, because what you can do is actually spread the glue to other areas. So you got to be careful when you wipe like that. Okay, well, practical way to do it possibly is to wait till the glue dries and then scrape it off and sand it off.
Would it not penetrate? No? Okay. Well,
You're not gonna spread it around, it's just on the joint.
yeah.
If it's in other places,
Well-
yeah, it might.
Hey, stranger.
Thank you, stranger.
I didn't even see you come in.
Yeah, I was in the ghost mode.
I guess. All right, if you want to take about a 15-minute break, we'll let this set up, and then we'll come back. And remember, guys, all this money from these tools is going to the club to help support us. This will help that we don't have to charge as much when we have the professionals come later in the year for the meetings. We will have to charge, but hopefully not as much. So it also helps. I was going to say it also. All right, real quick, Steve, if you don't mind, Steve, I'm going to use your piece here. As I said earlier, there was at least one other Hollowform vase style that is two-piece. If you guys didn't, I'm sure you saw this over there, but did you know that's a two-piece Hollowform that Steve Johnson did? It's a very pretty piece. You said it's cherry, right?
Cherry.
Yeah. He did not hollow through that little bitty hole there. If you did, I'd be really impressed. But this is a different style. You can do this. Again, you're turning, and this would be like turning two different boxes and then mating them. You got your lid and you got your base. You've got a tenon, you got a mortise, and that's the glue joint. This is just a flat glue joint here. This is actually a mortise and tenon glue joint on this one.
Turn wet.
He turned this green, which is even more impressive because, as I showed you, this was one of my fails here because I went too far down. This was one I tried this week, which was wet elm, and I tried turning it and I glued it and I went back out and now like my hinge there, the glue joint popped.
Did you use super glue or did
I used wood glue, but evidently not enough.
you use
And
super glue?
okay,
On that wet.
yeah.
Clean.
I think what happened is those of you guys that listen to Sammy do stuff, especially turning green, you get the thickness the same on both all the way through. This piece was thicker than the top. And I did that somewhat intentionally because of the tenon here. But because this was thinner, this top piece warped.
And because you knew that nobody'd be able to reach all the way to the bottom.
Well, true, yeah. I mean, if you can get in there, that'd be great. I'm not real pleased with that shape either, but it would have been okay. But I'll pass that around. You can see my mortise and tenon on that and how that came apart. I didn't do a real good job. I may try it again, and maybe I'll try super glue this time.
Put a
And
hinge
then-
on there and make an egg box.
Yeah, I'd have to clean it up a little bit, but it may be salvageable. We'll see. But the elm, that was some pretty wood. A neighbor, or a friend of ours, rather, around the corner from us. That's some of that elm that we cut, Gerald.
Did it stink?
No, I didn't notice it really stinking. No. So, all right. This should be dry enough now. It's not obviously completely dry, but I can take the tail stock away. Keep your fingers crossed. And it's not going to fall off. And again, if you guys don't have a cone live center, you can easily make one. This one, I don't think I can get it apart. This metal piece came with a Nova chuck, and it's actually has a threaded piece that you can put in there.
So what is that thing called? That piece of
This,
metal? The metal part?
it's just part of the live center. Made by Nova, but this piece will pop out, and I can put in a cone center in there, or just a point. Has several different. It does have a cone, but it's not big enough. So I just turned this, and then that screws in. What I say is, if you don't have one like this, all you got to do is turn inside cone shape that'll fit over, a regular live center.
Oh, like a jam.
Yeah, you just you slip over there and hold up there and bring it in. So there's ways around it. If you don't have a cone center, you can make one. This is just a piece of scrap wood. I happen to have this one, so that's what I did. But otherwise, I would have made one for here. I would have just hollowed this out down in a cone shape that would fit fairly snug on here, and then bring it up.
But
So.
you wouldn't know for sure that it was centered. If it's just water.
Well, you can put it on there and see how tight it is, but really all you need is something to push in the center of this. You just need the center point. The only reason you would turn a cone shape is to keep it from flopping around so much. But if you can get it in there and get it on that center point in there, it's going to center that for you. I think it's the one-way live centers that come with the big Powermatics have I think a bigger cone you can use. Like I said, I just didn't have that. This is what I have. Okay. So that's how, if you don't, right, yeah, and it screws on here. Yeah. I don't have one of these, don't have a big enough cone, so that's what I made and used. So there's,
You can buy the nuts that will
yeah,
go on there and then epoxy.
right. So otherwise I could have, just used this. This is obviously not going to fit in there. You don't have to make this big either, the opening. You can make it a smaller opening if you want. you would just leave enough wood out here to do your recess, and then you would turn it away later and then cut your opening or drill an opening, whatever. You can size this. This is just the way I did this one, but if you left this wood out here, if it was more to it, or you could even put a glue block on there to make your mortise to do that with. So, like I keep saying, lots of options on how to do this. Now, we'll see how true this runs now. Not too bad. This one actually I did not leave. I forgot to leave the step in there for the mortise, for the jaws to rest against. So I was actually had them against here, which is not the proper way to do it. It worked out, but that's not what you want to do. So on this one, this little step in here is what I would turn out now, but this one's already gone. So all I'm going to do is clean this up, smooth that up a little bit, and then finish this, and then it's ready to sand, and I'm done. So we will take care of this edge here and do the center, and that shall be it.
How'd you hold it to hollow it out if it didn't have that step and then you put it in?
I just put the chuck all the way in. That's in the chuck. I can't do that. I was going to show you. But yeah, the jaws just went in here and expanded. I just had to be real careful when I hollowed, and I may have bumped the end of them a little bit. And that's when I realized I forgot the step in there. So that's what you want to do. And that's the reason you do it that way. So this now is up to you how you design this, how you finish it, what you want it to look like. So first all I'm going to do is just clean up the hole. And the easiest way for me to do that is again with a skew. Just going to bring it in. So that's all I would do, and then take sandpaper to take care of the lip inside, maybe round that a little bit. And I can round this edge here. So this is all on what design you want. As you can tell, that's pretty thin. Get a lot of vibration. So this area right in here, the glue is not 100% set, like I said, but I'm not worried about that because I'm pushing in. I'm not going across. I'm not putting side pressure on it. Right now, all I'm doing is going in. If I was doing this at home, I would have let this dry a little longer. In fact, I am going to stop at that right there. And I probably will take this home and do a little bit more here and then sand it, but I'm going to bring this around. As you saw how thin this edge was, and at the bottom is larger. So I can clean that up. Gary, let's hope that glue holds. You picked a heck of a day to sit in the front center there, buddy. I'm just going to use this again as a scraper, very lightly. It's so thin it just comes right off there. Now, if you were using green wood, you definitely would have wanted to do this a lot faster. I turned this yesterday and got it to this point yesterday. So there was a chance, even being fairly dry wood, that it could have warped.
Did you start with a blanket, or did you find out do it yourself, dry it yourself?
Yes, well, somebody found it and gave it to me. I think this may have been from one of our former club members, I think. That wood there is elm, Brian. It was, I think, 2000 or 2021 is when it was cut, but it had been cut in half, and actually I cut some fairly large for bowls, and then I was looking for this. I had to take that, what I'd cut the round, and square it back up. I take that back. This was just a log. So I had to take it and cut it square. I can't emphasize enough, guys, don't try to cut a round blank on your bandsaw. You're looking for trouble. That's guaranteed.
2-inch block of wood, right?
Okay. I don't have any sandpaper at all. I was going to touch that up a little bit. Yeah. Oh, yeah, duh. Yeah. Well, unless everybody's taken it already. 320? That'll work. Thank you, Clayton. I just don't want to turn too much or sand too much and get dust. I mean, you can see. Really just want to hit that edge so you can see it. Yep. Throwing sandpaper at you, Gary. Yeah, it's just got a little bit of a mark there that'll sand out when I get home. So that is pretty much it. Thank you. And again, like I said, I'd just take and hit that on the inside. When you cut that step out of that, do real gentle cuts so you don't split the wood on the inside. As you come off, you know, sometimes it splinters when you go off the end. You don't want that to happen. So just take real fine cuts, a little bit at a time, or you'll end up with chipped wood on the inside. So, any questions? Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and pass this around, let you look at it, and yeah, okay, I guess I can pass it around. If you wanted to, again, yeah, see, there he goes, yep. Yeah. The possibilities, like I said, are endless on that now as far as what you want to do. You can leave it like that, sand it, you know, just put a nice finish on it. Some of the ones, if you saw in the handout here, where he, a little hard to see, but like on here, you can see around this edge right there, he has some braided leather. Oh, now he zooms in. There. And a little recess there. Again, guys, that video is available for checkout. And he has a lot of different, one section, the extras on that disc shows a lot. This is kind of what I was doing. That's where I got my idea for this, was from this. Yes. This.
Is
Or
that a template, or did you
I made a template for that and then positioned it and drew around it and then burned it. Yeah, I just used some paper. Yeah. Thank you. It was copying this pattern, and I had to learn how to burn the feathers. So that was practice, separate practice. And again, you can see where I was practicing on here. So that's what that was. But what he did was, and it's kind of hard, I didn't even realize it at first, is the area around here is pierced. That's not burned on his. Mine is burned. He actually pierced that. So he did it really thin. These are on that video, by the way. There's another one that he looks like I'm not positive, but it looks like on this one down here, he did an inset of a different color wood for the collar, which is really pretty. And then he's got this one up here that he just painted, I think. That's not pierced, so I assume that's paint. Guy's got a lot of talent, Brian McElvoy. And then this one is really pretty down here on the bottom. The bottom of that one is African ebony, and the top is a maple burl. At least, yeah. Probably more nowadays, yeah. Yeah. Because this was done in 16, excuse me. No, 6. Well, 2006 and 16, so it was, they published it twice, evidently. But again, if you're an AAW member, you can go on and find this article. You can go on our website, find it. This video, if anybody wants to check it out and watch, he does a good job explaining everything. I read the article and learned how to do this. I did not know we had the video at the time. I just checked it out for the first time a couple of months ago when I found out I was doing this demo. So I had to refresh myself because it's been a while since I've done it. But it is it's a little old, but it's a good video. 2010 is a copyright on this. Yeah, that's true. Well, you can see, in fact, you can see on the front of this, the leather he's got on there. He lives in Canada. I don't remember what part. I think the Pacific Coast. And he's got a lot of the Native Americans from the Pacific Northwest influence in his stuff, which I really like. So the challenge for next month is a two-piece Hollowform. So anybody want a free ticket for the raffle for next month? Bring a two-piece Hollowform next month. It can be a vase, it can be something like this. A box will not count. Okay? I just said a box does not count.
You're not talking about a collar, you're talking.
I'm talking about, a vase is what I would call it, Hollowform. To me, the definition of a Hollowform is an open vessel with a smaller top, smaller opening than the max diameter. Yes, it is. Yeah. So, okay, next month's challenge. You got that, Clayton, for the newsletter? But you said you didn't turn it, Dennis. That's I guess I need to clarify that. It has to be turned by you.
Hey guys, I know y'all all don't do Facebook, but we do have a Facebook page, and I try to get pictures from all over the net of work of other artists. If you want some ideas, look on our Facebook page. I spend a lot of time drawing that stuff in there, and I would appreciate it if you would look at it at least. It will give you some ideas that will challenge you, really. You may not know how to do it, but most of it you can figure it out. Some of it is impossible. There's a guy,
You can come in.
starts with a P, he is fantastic. But look at it. Lots of stuff on there.
So,
just heard from our past illustrious president here, he's got an air tank on the porch for free.
Air tank as in,
A tank that holds air. I mean,
okay. It's like a portable air tank. Okay. Just clarifying.
yeah, I'm sorry.
But I wouldn't have expected less from you, you know.
Here I am. I'm back.
Good to see you, Tim.
It's good to be here.
Those that don't know, Tim was the previous president. He's the one that suckered me into this, so I do still talk to him every once in a while.
Done a better job than I
No,
ever thought.
no, sir. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, man, it's a rough crowd. So, next month, as I mentioned earlier, is the club picnic, and we will be raffling off a Supernova Chuck. Basically, just like this one.